for UFC Fight Night, Font versus Vera. This is episode 10, the season premiere of Shed2Ed. We wiped the board clean, Steve. You took away $15 in season 1.
Yeah, big victor of season 1, so I'll carry the naming rights for right now.
And you're
I'm
also up
Shed2Ed.
first.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's Shed2Ed this week. And I
Yeah.
bet there was going to be a bunch of submissions on UFC 273, but we were not blessed with a submission, so you're up first this week as well.
Yeah, just one sub. Yeah, I'm up first here. Did you want to go over last season at all? Any results?
Well, we started our betting
anything
tracking. We've got 2 weeks of the official Shed2Ed betting picks, and we're only down half a unit. We were up 2.3 units on UFC 273 on our betting picks. Is that right?
Yeah, the debut was a bit of a mess there, but we came back and won a couple of units back last week. So we're down about a half a unit there now. So that's okay. We'll win a couple of units here this week and keep moving forward.
So we're going to clear the slate. We're going to go $5 picks this week. We're going to spice it up.
We'll see how that works out.
Now, you held a $15 lead for most of the first season, and we actually broke even in episode 9. I went 4-1 with my picks. You went 5-2.
Yeah, it was hanging around $15 there for a long time in that season, but it's just because we break even so much. A little bit
Certainly,
here and there.
and you retained naming rights for a good chunk of that.
Yeah, that's what matters.
You want to take a draft first? You want to take a look at the card this week?
Let's have a look at the draft battle here now.
Let's get right
into it.
I'm
up first. Let's get into it. I'll just take top on the board there, Andre Philly.
Sweet. So yeah, you said Andre Touchy-Feely, first pick. And you said you went and you look back and you've never missed a first-round pick in the draft. Is that right?
That is right. So out of the first 9, I didn't miss a first-round pick. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable here with Andre Philly, and then I'll come back again on it in the gambling picks later on.
Right on. Now, first pick overall for me is Nat and Levy. Not really experienced guy, neither is Breeden, but Levy's holding a heavy favorite here. I went with that. I think Tetsuro Taira and Candelario are even less experienced, so I was feeling a bit hesitant leaning either side of that bet.
Yeah, they're both making their UFC debuts there as well, so that one can go either way, kind of. There's a lot of hype behind Taira, but I didn't take him. I was moving on there. I was taking Gina Mazzani for my next pick. I heard you're not really too comfortable with Gina here now.
I was taking a look at Gina's
couple
record.
Sketchy losses.
Last 5 fights, all TKO losses, fighting in 3 different weight classes. She went 2-3 in that time, just all over the place performance-wise. I don't see a lot of consistency. I don't feel safe betting that Gina Mazzani side, but she's definitely a fighter. She's definitely a warrior. She's going to go in there in 3 different weight classes. Took Grant Dawson next. Again, we're skipping over Carlos and Tatsuro, working our way down, taking the favorite side. Pretty straightforward here at 151. I didn't do too much research on Dawson. Middle of the pack, taking the favorite side for that one. So after Grant Dawson, you took Darren Elkins, who's going up against Tristan Connolly.
Yeah, I took Darren Elkins. I still wasn't really super comfortable with Tetsuro, so I just kind of made my way down the board, see if I can pop up to him later on.
Sounds good. I went Gabe Green. Look at that. 3 picks in a row. 4 picks in a 5 picks in a row.
Yeah, man. 5 picks in a row.
We're just working our way down the board. Favorite side, 5 picks in a row. Not too much to really comment on, hey?
No, that's kind of what happens sometimes with a lot of these drafts. We'll take the more likely to win people first. And I'll continue it on here now. I'll just clean up the top there, Tetsuro Taira. I like him here at I don't like him at 1.36 odds necessarily, but I like him at even odds against you. So I like him to win this fight over Carlos Candelario.
Yeah, these last 4 fights are really the tightest ones where you're going to want to start thinking about closer to that pick 'em when your implied probability is only in that neighborhood of about 50-60% to win. I went Dan De Silva. I don't like what I've seen out of Figueiredo Jr. and the Arlovsky Collier fight and the Jotko Mearshart fight are really intriguing. We can talk about those later. I went Dan De Silva. It seemed like the safer pick. Did a little Google search. Pick came up. Pick Dan De Silva. So we'll lean with the random Google search on that one.
Yeah, man. You know what? I was thinking Daniel De Silva for my next pick too, and you kind of sniped him on me there. So kudos to you. I hope he wins. I plugged him into my gambling picks later on. So good luck to you on that one. I think he'll be good. But yeah, Arlovsky and Collier, I wasn't sure which way to lean on this one there. I had a little smells tells that was telling me to fade Jake Collier there. So I just kind of went with Arlovsky. Heavyweights, Arlovsky's getting old. Jake Collier's kind of meh, whatever. So this one can kind of go either way there. But I'll lean the favorite with Arlovsky.
Yeah, as far as Jake Collier being meh, whatever, he looked amazing in his fight against Chase Sherman, who's 3-8 in the UFC. So
Chase Sherman, who's actually fighting on this card, and we actually left out his fight because he is a 12-1 underdog, and he the odds of him losing, I guess, in the first round and a half are like 1.4, something like that. So,
they're bonkers.
man,
We can touch on that later.
yeah, I guess we'll bring that up later in the card preview. So.
Big time. And then it came down to meet it between the Jotko fight and the main event. I took Meerschaert. Meerschaert's on a little submission streak here. He's saying, give me the Sugar Sean O'Malley treatment. Give me your trash guys. Let me beat them all up and get that 50 grand performance bonus. I watched his little fight that he did. He got that first round guillotine choke. If Meerschaert gets in there, he can just wrap your neck up. You got to watch out for that big time. And we're going to see if Jotko can manage the distance. Jotko kind of matched up with Sean Strickland, and it was jabbers, and he ended up on the wrong side of that decision. So it's going to be an interesting fight between these two, I think.
Yeah, that one should be a good one. I was kind of eyeing Gerald there too. I was kind of hoping you were going to take Jotko. And
I didn't watch enough tape on Jotko, I think, but I seen his fight with Sean Strickland. I think he's a very measured fighter, and maybe Meerschaert will pressure him a bit. He might be able to threaten the takedown or threaten the submission, and that might open up the offensive side for Meerschaert, which is why I went for him.
Yeah, it was a good pick late there. And I was left with the main event. This one can go pretty much either way. Marlon Vera and Rob Font should be a pretty interesting one. I've seen these guys standing up a lot or trying to stand up a lot in their most recent fights. Rob Font, last couple of fights were main event, 5 rounders, going the distance each time there. So it should be a good, long, stand-up boxing match, kickboxing match with Marlon Vera there. Should be a good time. Got to wonder if anybody's going to resort to the ground game there, see if they can get the edge there. But both of these guys, traditional strikers.
I would definitely want to agree with that. And I've been thinking about this wrestling angle. When you got that 5-round fight, maybe one guy will just sense that he can get the takedown. Maybe we'll go tit for tat. You know, if one guy spins a round on his back, he might say, I'm going to score a takedown and I'm going to do a round of control. Because I think both these guys are going to be strong wrestlers and they have that in their arsenal. But it might just be a kickboxing match. Cheeto's going to use the kicks, manage the range if he can. Font, more of a volume puncher, not so much a power puncher. We've seen him just get overpowered by Jose Aldo. By the way, this is a sloppy seconds fight. Both these guys coming off recent losses to Jose Aldo. Matchmakers have them matched up against each other.
Yeah, that should be a good one there. We'll probably
now, I was looking back on it, and matching up guys who have a common loss is pretty popular. Next week, we have Tony Ferguson and Michael Chandler, who are both coming off a couple of losses to Charles Oliveira and Justin Gaethje each. So we're going to see who emerges victorious on that one. We had Mickey Gall and CM Punk and Mike Jackson in a little love triangle situation there. Both guys coming off losses to Mickey Gall, then they matched up with each other. Of course, that was a no contest. And then we had John Jones, who beat Alexander Gustafsson and Anthony Smith, and we saw those two face off. So that's what we have for the main event. Similar situation. Guys coming off a common loss. Matchmakers stick them together, figure out where they all slot against each other in the rankings.
Yeah, man. And this is a pretty high-ranked fight there. Font was recently in the top 5. Where's he to now?
I believe this is number 6 versus number 8, but we can confirm that in a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
So looking at the card, we'll kick it off from the Nerd Limbs. We got the Candelario Tyra fight, kicking it off at 125 pounds. Then the women's 125 pounds, and then Breeden Levy.
Yeah, I kind of like the start to this one here. The Taira and Candelario fight. That one is going to be a banger to kick off the card. Really hope I don't miss that one. I tuned in late last week or the week before there. There was like a round 1 KO in 45 seconds. Missed the first fight. But this one, they're going to be coming out swinging. Tatsuro is 22 from Japan. Not a whole lot of Japanese UFC fighters on the go right now, but he's got a lot of hype behind him. And then Carlos Candelario and Taira both making their UFC debut. Should be a lot on the line for both these fighters, and should be a lot of heart into this one.
Yeah, and a spicier money line to kick off the betting for the night. Second half of the prelims, headlined by Romanov Sherman. Look at that, minus 2,200 for Romanov.
Yeah, that one, we're not touching that one at all. 1.05 on the decimal. I don't even know if you get that on it anymore. Chase Sherman, is he worth taking at 12 12-1 or 11-1 odds, whatever that is.
Now, we saw Mike Jackson get poked in the eye and groin struck, and he walked away with a disqualification win. If Romanov can manage to illegally, lose this fight under some like weird conditions, that's basically the only route to victory for Sherman, according to these odds, right?
Right. Well, maybe. Well, I guess at those odds, I think you can take someone at like 25-1 or 50-1 win by DQ or something like that if you can find that prop sometimes. So maybe that'd be the better way to go about it.
Maybe, man, maybe. I think a lot of the talent here is loaded up onto the main card. We'll take a look at that. Now we got Connolly versus Elkins. Connolly trying to figure things out. Plus 150. The odds makers haven't counted him out. It's priced as a live dog. Is he a live dog? Is the real question.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. I wasn't too confident in Darren Elkins during the draft. He was like a 3rd or 4th round pick for me there. I kind of like Tristan Connolly at the odds there, 2.5 or 2.35, wherever I ended up getting him in there in the gambling picks. But I kind of like him as a live dog. Yeah.
I think so. I think it's going to be an interesting fight. These are all pretty tight matchups. Nobody's minus 200 or worse, so these should be some competitive fights to kick off the main card.
Yeah, there wasn't whack odds like the last few weeks that we've had. 1.2s and 1.25s the whole time. The worst I think we got is Andre Philly. He was 1.31, but odds moved up to 1.37 later on there. So that's not even terrible.
It's not, and it should be at least be an exciting fight. That much I'm really betting on.
There you go. Yeah, minus 260. That's still okay.
It's still okay. Maybe get in there on minus 260. Now Arlovsky Collier has a couple of wins. He's outclassed a couple of guys at that lower end of the 265 class. And Arlovsky is that gatekeeper to the rankings, essentially. We saw Tanner Boser was like number 15 until he lost to Arlovsky. And Arlovsky's just been beating back the lower class guys in the weight class. You look at Jared Vandera recently lost to Arlovsky, and then again to Olenek. Yeah, like I said, Collier's coming off that win over Chase Sherman. I don't know which way this one's going to go. I think the price is about right, though. I think Collier at plus 125 is about where he belongs.
Yeah, I can't say that it's not going to happen, but it just probably won't, I guess. I think Andre Arlovsky is just going to keep him out there. I don't know if Jake Collier's a top 15 heavyweight. Do you think he is?
I don't really think his place is in the top 15.
Well, he probably won't be ranked then after Saturday.
We'll see what happens. And then that main event, Rob Font, Marlon Vera. I think the 5 rounds are going to play out. They're going to affect how this fight goes down because you're not really pushing to win 2 rounds. You need to win 3 at least in a 5 rounder, and you got to go that distance on top of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Rob Font's his last couple of fights have been main event fights, and he does have the stamina to go. He is a 5-round fighter, and he'll probably end up showing this if it goes deep into 4 or 5. And at the bantamweight there, it probably will go pretty long. The over-under, I think the odds are it's like 1.5 or something like that to go over 4.5 rounds. So this is probably going to be a long match, 5-round boxing match between the two guys there. But look for both of these guys to push the pace, both these guys to be aggressors at different times. And it should be pretty interesting. Should be a good fight.
Yeah, I think the narrative here is that Rob Font is going to be able to keep Chito at a distance and get in there and land his punches. And then Marlon Vera is going to want to wear on him. He's going to want to drag Rob Font into rounds 4 and 5. I watched that Frankie Edgar fight, and Frankie came out strong in round 1, not so hot in round 2, and then lost the fight in round 3. Couldn't keep up with that pace Vera was pushing. We'll see which guy can get the game plan going. I think the first round is going to go either way. It's going to be a big feeling out round for both guys is what I think is going to go down.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the first round, well, what you'll see is just Vera coming out with a bunch of kicks there before Rob tries to get in, get dirty. So he might go in, look for the clinch or something like that. He probably won't be looking for the ground, but he'll be looking to break, get in, get the clinch, break, get some elbows, something like that, bust him up.
I think that the kicks might combine with maybe a takedown attempt. If Rob can catch a kick or two and throw Chito on the floor, he can kind of say, "Stop with the kicks, please. I'm going to put you on the ground."
Yeah.
I think both these guys learned their lessons from fighting Jose Aldo. Rob had to deal with a lot of kicks in that fight, and Vera had to deal with someone who was outboxing him. So we're going to see if these guys can learn who learned the better lessons in their last couple of outings and who's going to apply that going forward. 5 versus 8. This is a high-stakes fight at that 135-pound division. It's anyone's fight.
Yeah, that should be a banger.
We'll take a look at the betting picks. We have the draft results, and then we switch a couple things up. You got the parlay of the week on here. He took Andre Fili at 137. We got Tristan Connolly and Mearshart as the heavier dogs on the gambling picks this week.
Yeah, we'll have a look at some of the gambling picks here. So we did have to swap a few things around. Taira, Tatsuro, and Mazzani. I wasn't really comfortable with their odds taking them against the bookie, but what I did was I just parlayed them together. I'll take them at less than a unit for the parlay. They should win. We'll see. But I like Andre Fili, like we were saying earlier. I haven't missed on a first-round draft pick yet, so this one should be safe, even for a heavy bet there on a 1.37. Nathan Levy, I like that pick, so I'll give it to you on that one. Grant Dawson, you stole that pick on me too. I got to give you on that one too. Tristan Connolly, I'm going to go against myself on that one there. I like Darren Elkins at 2.0 odds, but I like Tristan Connolly at 2.36. Johan, I'll take him over Gabriel Green. Sorry to do that to you there.
It is what it is. Now, when you take your dogs, you're betting smaller units. You're betting to win 1 unit, right? And you're betting
That's
a bit
right.
heavier. Like Andre Fili, how many units are you betting to win 1 unit on him?
2.7 units on Andre Fili to win 1 unit. But on the parlay there, I'll bet less than 1 unit. I'll bet 0.9 units. And on the Johan bet, I'll bet 0.9 units. On the Tristan Connolly, I bet 0.75 units. And these ways, I'll win 1 unit their profit as long as the fighter wins. So basically, I just load up on the heavy favorites there. Really hope that they win, come through, but they should based off of their implied probabilities. But Andre Fili should be safe for a 2.7 unit bet on him. I like Nathan Levy and Grant Dawson, and I feel comfortable betting on those. But that's why we switch the underdogs around a lot of times. I'll take Marlon Vera for less than a unit. I'll take Gerald there for less than a unit. I like these guys.
Sounds good. Now, if you chose to play along at home, you've done the number calculation. If you're betting on picks that I've taken, it's safe to bet a flat 1 unit every pick for the most profitable route. Now, if you're betting with Steve, your bet is to bet to win 1 unit. And if you calculate it out that way, we're plus money. And if you run it the opposite way, we're negative money. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty much. So both how we line up our draft results, not necessarily say personal gambling picks, but where I don't miss on my early picks, and I'm really solid on my early picks, and then you're solid later on the pick'ems and stuff like that. You can follow my picks and throwing heavy units down on my early picks, and then kind of fading my late ones. But with yours, as long as you have the same unit bet or the same bet on every one, that's how you're most profitable there. But I think that ties in because you end up drafting a lot of dogs. Like you took Mearshart here today, and you're going to end up having, say, a full unit bet on that one as opposed to me having less than unit bet. So when he wins, you'll win more than I would.
I like it. If you're playing along at home, you're going to develop your own style. Maybe you just want to put a bit of extra money on that main event because it runs a bit longer and you want to hold your attention a bit stronger. You bet to whatever style makes it more fun for you. If you like to take the parlays, they're not necessarily great value bets in terms of what you get. You have the risk a bit more and you need every leg to hit. But it could be fun to watch your wins rack up as you watch your parlay stack, right?
Yeah, parlaying a lot of fights could be troublesome there. It's really hard to sweep a day or sweep a night. I mean, even when we're taking our draft picks, we go 5-1 or 5-2. I mean, that's great, but it wouldn't work for a parlay. I like
Right.
parlaying 2 picks together, something like that, getting a little better odds there. So I'll actually reduce the units that I bet on Taira and Mazzani. If I was betting on 2 of them individually for singles to win 1 unit each, I'd end up betting 4.5 units between them. But now I'll bet less than 1 unit for hopefully half the payout there. So it'll work out. Even if one of these fighters wins, I'll lose less money than if I bet on 2 of them for the full unit each.
We're talking value. You're betting to win, and if you lock up a parlay with these heavy favorites, it's easier to find that value in the bet to win, right?
Absolutely.
And we have $5 picks between us for straight money, so we're going to have a bit more money on the line this week as well. What do we got next week and the week after? We were off for a little bit, haven't been updating the folks at home. Next week, we got the big pay-per-view, Oliveira Gaethje, Namajunas Esparza 2 title fights. And then after that, we got Blachowicz and Rakic, maybe looking for the next title shot bout, May 14th.
Yeah, these should be great nights there. UFC 274 looking to be great, looking to be stacked up there with a couple of title fights. I haven't seen Rose fight in a while.
No, I am looking forward to seeing this matchup. I'm looking forward to the whole card. It's pretty heavy. We got Donald Cerrone in there, Tony Ferguson in there. It's going to be a good night.
Nice.
What are you looking forward to this week? What fight has your attention?
Well, I'm mostly just looking forward to the main event. This one's going to be as long as a couple of fights worth. This is going to be top level fighters standing up and boxing each other for 25 minutes. That's what I'm hyped up for, the main event. Surprise, surprise. But besides that, we're going to bookend it. The start of the match, the start of the card with the UFC debuts for Tatsuro Taira and Carlos Candelario there. That should be a good fight there as well. That one might run a little bit faster, but they're light guys too. They might have a 15-minute battle in which they're just throwing hands. Should be good.
I'm looking forward to that hype, that heavyweight bout, that crazy odds, minus 2,200. I can't help it. It's when the odds get that wacky, you got to tune in. You got to see if things are going to play as they should. Now, we're looking at Romanov, 15-0 in MMA, 4-0 in the UFC, coming up against Chase Sherman, who's 3-8 in the UFC.
Ooh.
This is tilted. This is a tilt right here.
Yeah, I don't even know how this one ended up getting scheduled there. Really,
this is because Tanner Bozer got injured. So Tanner Bozer was matched up, and Tanner was like plus 200 or plus 300 against Romanov. And then he pulled out, and they re-signed Chase Sherman because they fired his ass, and they brought him back in to fight Romanov. So this has all the makings of just a tilt of a fight.
We'll see if any magic comes out of it then.
Jeez, if you believe in magic, you got to tune into that Romanov-Sherman fight.
That one should be a wild one. If you're a big fan of violence, the under 1.5 on that one is the favorite. Heavyweight, someone's gonna get knocked out in that fight.
Yeah, if you're praying for a freak on either side to go down, under 1.5 is a fun bet.
Yep.
Now you want to take for first pick next week. You want to take that main event going over 4 rounds?
Man. Is it my pick?
I'll let you take it. I'll let you take the pick. I don't care whose pick it is.
You can take it then.
Okay, I'll take it under 4 rounds. Let's go, baby.
All right, under 4 rounds. That's kind of where I was leaning, but I just didn't want to take it. I kind of hope someone gets knocked out in that one. Kind of. I think it's going to be a great match. I just pray for some violence there on Saturday night. Come on, bring it on.
Yeah, I think we might just see a grappling match. I'm low-key expecting some grappling in that main event. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Let's get some ground and pound.
Let's get some action, boy.
All right. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. Episode 10.
Let's go, baby.